Testing, there it is. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I know we have a group on the virtual meeting. We have folks here in person as well. So give it a couple more minutes. I see some people walking in. All right, well, thank you to everyone who is here in attendance this evening, Tuesday night, October 15th. Glad to see smiling faces at the end of a long work day. For those of you all in the back who aren't on staff, feel free to move to the front. That's like you have to say that in a meeting. Fill in the front. So anyway, so we're here tonight to talk about DHCD's Ward 8 housing listening session, the first one we're doing here in the community. Glad to be here this evening in this stead of Director Colleen Green. For those of y'all who don't know me, I'm Christopher Early, Deputy Director here at DHCD, and glad to be here this evening. I'll just hop into my preliminary remarks and we'll then allow for the listening session to start. So again, good evening, everyone. I'm Christopher Early, Deputy Director of the Department of Housing and Community Development. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule today to come join us this evening, and welcome to DHCD's Housing Listening Sessions. DHCD is passionate and committed to affordable housing and supporting communities across the district. Most importantly, to start off though, I do want to introduce DHCD staff. How about we start left to right with DHCD staff? Would you introduce yourself? And what do you do? Oh. Okay. Sir, you in the back?
Yes, Clyde Edwards, Economic Development Specialist with the Residential and Community Services Division.
Hi, I'm Gene Bolmash. For the past 2 weeks, I've been the Housing Preservation Officer, my new role, and before that, I was the Inclusionary Zoning Program Manager for several years.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Ann Morrow, and I am dual-hatted right now. I'm the Grant Management Officer for the agency and the Interim Housing Compliance Officer.
Good evening. My name is Sean Laster, and I am the Executive Assistant to Director Green.
Hello, I'm Bill Winston, Associate Director for Community Services.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keyshawn Keene. I'm the manager for the Property Acquisition and Disposition Division.
And my name is Lionel Gaines, Community Development Resource Specialist in the Office on Communications and Community Outreach.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sharon Brown. I'm in the Office of Program Monitoring, serving as a Program Analyst.
Thank you, team. Your hard work is always appreciated. Thank you for introducing yourselves to those who are in the room and joining us virtually. So while DHCD will host listening sessions in wards all across the city, we are doing the first one here in Ward 8. So that's a good thing. And the purpose of our housing listening sessions are to educate district residents about DHCD housing resources, to inform the public about DHCD's progress on affordable housing, and to listen to district residents' housing needs and concerns. So we're here to educate, inform, and listen. Often DHCD is confused with functions of other agencies like the DC Housing Authority or the Department of Human Services, both important agencies. DHCD does manage public housing and the housing choice. DCHA manages public housing and the Housing Choice Voucher Program, and DHS manages the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, Rapid Rehousing, and Emergency Programs, helping residents exit shelter and short-term housing and many other programs. That stated, DHCD's mission is to produce and preserve opportunities for affordable housing and economic development and to revitalize underserved communities here in the District of Columbia. DHCD fulfills this mission by providing gap financing for affordable housing construction and preservation, supporting communities through neighborhood-based activities, increasing first-time home ownership opportunities, funding the rehabilitation of single-family and multifamily homes, providing funding for homelessness prevention, addressing vacant and abandoned properties, and overseeing the administration of rental housing laws. So again, thank you for your time and the opportunity to share vital information with you, and we look forward to addressing your questions and hearing from you. I will state as I wrap up, when you state or ask a question, please say your name, what ward you live in, how long you've lived in DC, and if you're a homeowner, renter, landlord, or any other reason why you're here this evening. So again, we look forward to hearing from everyone. And with that, I will rely on my colleague Lionel to point us in the right direction.
So thank you, everyone. So now we're moving on to the Q&A portion. DHCD has a number of different housing programs that we can delve into, but the real purpose of the housing listening session was to actually hear about your concerns. And so first, we'll start off by going to questions in the room, and then we'll go to the folks that are online. And so I'll just ask my colleagues to assist with monitoring those in the room, and I'll monitor those online. So I see you're first. Just as Director Early said, say your name, what ward you're from, and how long you lived in the district, or if you're a renter, homeowner, or so forth.
Thank you. My name is Barbara Carey. I am Ward 6. I have been an apartment owner in Ward 6 for 21 years. I'm at the Ward 8 listening session because I can't make it on the day for Ward 6. But I am, and I also understand that this is not DCHA. I appreciate that DCHD is doing a listening session. I would not expect DCHA to do one ever because they are doing such an appalling job. And I am angry. I am at how affordable housing in this city is being shredded. There's a number of ways to try and make my point, but I'll start by telling I was welcomed by residents who had been here for decades. It was really nice. It was a very warm sort of a community. And since then, one of the residents that was the kindest to me, he had lived in DC for 38 years, and he was forced out right as his wife's Alzheimer's got really bad. His rental unit was taken back by the landlord, which is completely fine. But he couldn't find anything else in Ward 6 that he could afford. So as a retiree, he had to move several hours away to where he had zero friends, zero resources, and he is still struggling. And now I'm trying to move, and I can't find any place that I can afford to move to in Ward 6. We have 12 new luxury apartment buildings that have gone up 2 blocks from where I've lived for 21 years. And I thought I would try and move into one of them. That's funny. I don't have more than $1 million for a 1-bedroom or a studio. That's disgusting. I make really good money. I'm an upper middle class white woman. I showed up in my pearls and my business attire to make a point. The world is my oyster, and I cannot find a place to live anymore in this city. That's just gross. And I remember that Arthur Capper used to have more than 300 units that were deeply affordable. That was torn down to make room for the third stadium in a less than 10-mile square area. Did we need that? I don't need it. I'd like some place to live. I think other people would like just some place with walls and a door that they can afford. I guess I have to leave DC. So I'm a really good tax-paying resident. I've never cast a vote for Muriel Bowser, and I never will. But when she cries crocodile tears about how there's no income tax base in the center of the city, I'd like to ask why she is forcing longtime residents with ties to each other who've built a community and who welcomed me 21 years ago to go someplace else when they could be using the small businesses that used to exist, but nobody can afford to anymore. I'm really just kind of grossed out, and that's my story.
Great. Thank you for your comments. Who's next in the room? Sir.
Good evening. My name is Edward Ford, and I'm a constituent service specialist for Councilmember Trayon White. So I'm just here to listen. But my question is, what did you do to publicize this event with the community? And what can you do to make it better?
Thank you for your question. We advertise this event primarily on social media, via email, with a number of community-based organizations. But as we said in the beginning, this is the first of many. And residents, community-based organizations, and housing advocates are free to contact us at any time. So while this is just the first, we have one next week in Ward 7. After that, Ward 6, Ward 5, and then Ward 1. But in addition to our housing listening sessions, we have other public hearings about federal and local funding. Next week, we even have a public hearing about vacant and blighted housing. So we can always improve. We accept the feedback and would love to connect with you about future events.
Very good answer, sir. Who's next with a question or a comment?
And to add to Lionel, we also have a housing resource center that's open to the public during business hours to come in and get information about programs that we offer and other agencies.
Okay, my name is Elizabeth Reddick. I live in Ward 7 on the border of Ward 8. Literally Ward 8's the street behind me. I've lived in DC on and off for about 25 years, I want to say, because I joined the military, so I was gone for a while, came back. To your point about the housing, the resource center, that's not accessible. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to come in the resource center, and if you don't have an appointment, you don't get in. Now, maybe it's different that it's in this building than across the street, but when it was across the street, we could not just come in there unless we knew who we were trying to talk to. Because I've been trying to get resources in this city for the last 6 years, and it doesn't exist. That's one thing that you guys need to know. The second thing is, when you have people that are trying to access services in the city, it's very hard to access services, meaning like if you don't have these astronomical amount of income proofs, all of these different things, right? And we like to talk about people that are on assistance. I'm a person that was on assistance, right? Or am on assistance, but I'm a big advocate in the district. But we don't get credit for the stuff that we're actually doing in the district. So we're stuck in these housing situations. We're not even going to talk about slumlords. We're just talking about just regular housing situations. I have 5 kids. We live in a 2-bedroom with my mother. And DC feels like, okay, well, it's not the ideal situation, but you could be a lot worse, right? But when we talk about from the framework of how that affects children's mental health, especially as they're getting older, and we went from little babies and now they're teenagers, and you know, you have your teenagers, they need their own personal space, right? But then I'm a failure as a mom because mommy can't afford to get something bigger and provide the needs, right? I have children that have special needs, and it's unfortunate, especially we saw in COVID, 5 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. My neighbors are like, they too loud. What you want me to do? We're all stuck in here. I don't have a playground that they could just go to, you know? So when we think about affordable housing, we need to think about more than just apartments. We need affordable housing so that large families can actually have a yard. Like, it doesn't always have to be a situation where it's 8 units in a place where it used to be 1 house, right? So these developers, as they're coming in and they're making these changes, like, can we really consider quality of life for families? Because some families like living, you know, in apartments, but especially for larger families, we have to be able to have something that we can attain. Realistically, I want to buy a house in 5 years, right? So I'm doing the stuff that I have to do to be able to afford that, as far as like seeking employment and education and all of that. But realistically, I will never get there. My kids will never realize living in a house because I cannot afford it. So I just want us to really think about how that affects the mental health of not only me, but my children that I'm trying to train to be successful people and members of this society, but a society that is unaffordable for them to maintain for a long term.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. The one thing I'll say in response to part of what you said is hopefully your experience in coming to the new Housing Resource Center will be better here now that we're here. And so feel free to come in during, you know, working hours for folks who work here, but during the day when you can, and if you need resources, feel free to come in and ask for what you need. If they can't give it to you on the spot, they'll at minimum refer you to where you can get some assistance if you need it. So sorry for your bad experience across the street, but we're going to do better and we are doing better. So any other questions, comments in the room? Ma'am, you first have to say your name, where you live, and all that kind of good stuff first. And so,
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Williams. This is my son, Nico, and he's autistic.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
there you go.
he's sick. He got sick last night because we're homeless. And we can't get shelter because he's 20 years old. And I'm a female and he's a male. And we need to stay together. So how can this become something that you're working on? Or I don't want my family broken up.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And I'm working towards self-sufficiency. I'm not looking to just be housed and sit in housing.
Right.
So what can we do to help people like us? Because I'm sure we're not the only ones.
Again, my name is Nico Williams. So, and the first thing I graduated school is to get a job, plain and simple, a job. Nothing complicated. I'm not trying to be a rocket scientist or anything like that. I was looking for like a boxes, like moving boxes around, like crates or something like that. And I don't understand why it would take me 15 billion years, but you will give that job to somebody who just not qualified, but do it worse, like horrifically. What I also don't understand is how 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 can you give a house to somebody who just not appreciated, but just don't do nothing. Like I don't, and not like even like a lazy way. Like if you pair them to a lazy person and to them, the lazy person doing more than them ever did. If if that makes sense. And and I feel like today youth is something harder because the simple fact you would give shit people who will mess up the job versus somebody who graduated all of school with flying colors and, I got and and flying colors and their opportunity gets scrambled because you give them something else, they something they don't need, or worst case scenario, it do more damage to them. And I don't understand that, and I would never will, because America backbone a family. It been friends, it been a community of people past and working away itself. And I never understand how something like this can happen. And that all I gotta say. Thank you.
Thank you, young man, for your comments, and hopefully you get better soon.
Thank you for everyone in the room. We're now going to go to people online. Mr. Kelvin Pendergrass. We're going to allow you to speak. So your mic should be, you should be able to unmute and ask your question.
Hello, my name is Kelvin Pendergrass. I've been living in Washington, D.C. since 1980. And we try to figure out why is all this building being built and houses and apartments are being built. And the waiting list is closed down. And they keep asking us to wait for the waiting list. What are we waiting for when we see houses and development being built every day? And like the lady before said, who could afford this space? And it's a small space. To me, it's not making no sense to have all this going on, stadiums and something that's not necessary that we don't need. Everyone needs a house or affordable housing. Apartments now are $2,000 for 1 bedroom, along with gas, water, and electricity, and nowhere to park at. So homelessness is a big factor right now. And like I just said, it's no houses being built. All these condos and housing development built. If everybody get a car in these apartments, we be stuck in gridlock traffic from day to the next day. So the excuse they keep giving us is, we'll wait for the funding. What are we waiting for? There's a bunch of money sitting around waiting that could be funded for these wait lists of developments and everything else. So we need more answers and less excuses. I've been on the wait list since 2009 and it's 2025. That's a long time to be waiting on the wait list for a voucher. I'm a single father that has a daughter whose mother passed away from COVID. So I want my daughter to experience a backyard, a front yard, a house, and live comfortably. And right now, I'm in the hospital right now. My apartment is mold infested with mold. I done called DHS, I done called the house development people, I done called the environment people to try to get me moved out of there. And their excuse was, we don't have nowhere for you to move and reside to. When I'm a taxpaying citizen. And like we say, we can afford these $2,000, $3,000 a month apartments. That's a mortgage. So what are we doing here in DC, whereas though no one is always comfortable with where they're living at? This mayor is tearing the city up. This city is going down instead of going up. She's not for the people at all, period. So we try to get answers instead of excuses. We'll wait for your name to come up. We'll wait for this, wait for that. What are we waiting for? By the time we get something, somebody will be dead or gone. You close
Sir,
our housing authority, wait list.
sir, sir,
Yeah.
I'm gonna interject real quick, and I empathize with your challenge. Keep in mind that we are at the Department of Housing and Community Development, but I would encourage you to reach out to our folks here in the Housing Resource Center with some of the challenges you're facing, and hopefully they can refer you to somebody at the Housing Authority that can help you with your situation. So I know it's
Okay.
okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Again, we
I'm
want
a
to be
fast forward.
sensitive. Yeah, we want to
Yeah,
be
I want
sensitive
to
to your
fast forward.
challenge.
I want to fast forward. I applied for that. I asked for that. I'm in a mold infested apartment. I'm in a hospital as we speak right now due to the fact of mold in my apartments.
Okay. Sir, what we'll do is we'll take your name, make sure we follow up with you. We want to
Right.
keep the program moving this evening. So with
Right.
that,
That
Thank you, Mr. Pendergrass. Next, we have April P. You should be able to speak, and we're going to ask folks to keep their remarks to 3 minutes.
Absolutely. Hello, my name is April Pradier. I am living in Ward 7 and I have a condo in Ward 8. I am a born and raised Washingtonian. I am a former ANC at 7B06, and I am a real estate developer and a landlord. I love my city. So, I mean, first and foremost, I would like to encourage you guys to maybe have one of these sessions to include some of the other agencies, 'cause I'm hearing a lot coming from concerns around the housing authority. So maybe you can maybe integrate one of these calls to include them as well to answer some of these concerns. Secondly, I just want to commend you for having these listening sessions. I think this is absolutely wonderful. Now, I do have 2 questions, and I'm going to be very productive about asking those questions for you so that it can be short and sweet. One would be there's a serious issue across the city, but very specifically in Ward 7 and Ward 8, where we have very old condo buildings that are in dire need of repair. The majority of the people who are living in those buildings are elderly and low income, with whom that does fall within your wheelhouse. And I'm wondering, or I'm wanting to inquire more about, and I have called and asked about this, but I guess I want to keep impressing this issue upon you, just around, um, are there going to be any opportunities for any upcoming grants or any programs to help owners of buildings or the building itself, maybe the association, to bring these properties back up to compliance because they are becoming death traps? I have right up the street from you guys a condo that I own with my son. I bought it for him when he was 12 years old, and he's now 27. And the building is just in trouble. It's been around since the 70s. We're just looking for, I mean, and I'm not just speaking just for my building. I am speaking for the entire city, and specifically Ward 7 and Ward 8, because I know that the areas where people who are in dire need and who really cannot afford the rising condo cost to try to accommodate just having the building be sustainable, we need some kind of help from an organization like yours. So that was the first question. The second question is 10 seconds. The second question is just around how can a developer like me purchase some of these vacant properties, whether commercial and or residential, so that we can develop them and make them useful, and under programs like yours, keep them under some type of affordable housing, to allow individuals who have already kind of spoke up to live in, safe conditions, and whether they have housing, the housing authority involved or not, or they can pay on their own to be able to afford it. So those are my two questions.
Thank you, Ms. Haddon. I'm sorry, Handon, is that how you say your last name?
Pradier, like Perrier water.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong, okay. My
April
apologies.
Pradier. No problem, hon.
Thank you for your comments, April. I would direct you to reach out to our Property Acquisition and Disposition Division here at DHCD if you're interested in figuring out how you can purchase vacant and abandoned property that might be in this agency's portfolio.
Say that again, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. I'm gonna write it down. Say it again. I'm sorry.
The acronym is PADD, P-A-D-D, Property Acquisition and Disposition Division. And you can reach out to the manager there. His name is Keyshawn, Keishon, Keane, Keane. So as far as programs that can help some of the smaller buildings in the city, we have a program called the Small Buildings Program, where we are providing financing opportunities to building owners who own buildings that are 5 units and I think it's from 5 to 50 units, so smaller buildings across the city. And so that would be another opportunity for folks such as yourself that might be interested in putting some financing in place to help renovate a smaller scale building.
I did reach out, and they said that because we were a condo building with individual owners, that we did not qualify. So, and this is where the problem is, because that program sounds great and we could definitely utilize it if we fell within the compliance of it. But we're a condo association, so we collectively own the building, but we own our individual units.
Okay. All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll make sure we follow up with you to see if we can't advise you on that situation.
Thank you, sir.
We have Bonnie Handon. You should be able to unmute yourself and share with us your question. And we just ask you to keep your remarks to 3 minutes. Ms. Handon, are you there? If not, I will move on to Ms. Handon. Are you there? Okay, we're going to move on to Ms. Chambers. Ms. Chambers. Okay. Okay. I disabled your mic, Ms. Chambers. I enabled your mic. It's not working? Okay. All right. We'll come back to you. Ronald Williams Jr. You should be able to unmute yourself and share with us your question. We just ask you to keep your remarks to 3 minutes.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Ronald Williams Jr. I live in Ward 8, Hunter Place. I was just wondering, is there legislation that DHCD can do that assist renters? I'm a renter on Hunter Place, but is there a program legislation that could be helpful to tenants if they get in trouble behind on rent, that it does not impact them at their next location or at their next after they get, I guess, after they pull themselves up by the bootstraps and they get back on their feet. Is there something that DHCD can policy wise, legislatively implement so that it doesn't prohibit the tenant from getting back on their feet and getting back in right standing? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I won't get too deep into legislative policy, but DC has some of the most resident-friendly tenant laws in the country, and so I would advise you, similar to what we share with another person who was here in person, come into the Housing Resource Center and chat with one of our staff members here to talk about your specific situation. And in particular, I think you said you live not far from what would be likely Lydia's house service area.
Yep.
So we fund a number of nonprofits here in the city who focus on helping folks such as yourself with housing related questions. So that's probably a good place for you to start, because they can point you in the direction of resources that might be helpful to you depending upon your situation.
Yeah.
So I would start there, but also feel free to come into the resource center here at DHCD and look for other resources that we have available. Legislation wise, there's always legislation being considered, thought through, both for residents and others along the housing continuum. So we'll take your feedback, and if there's something that we can do, it'll definitely get released to the public. But for now, I would advise you to talk to one of our housing counseling services agencies, in particular Lydia's house, since you're not far from there.
Okay, that works. Thank you.
Ms. Handon, are you there?
Yeah, hello?
We can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, hi, my name is Bonnie Handon and I live in Ward 8. I need help. I live in a very old house. I've been here for my aunt gave it to me in 2006. So that's how long it's been here. It's in very bad condition. So what I did, I went to the weatherization program, the single family rehab program, and put an application in 2020. I got all the paper right here, 2020. Never heard from them. Pandemic came. So then they came into the house. I had to get a roof. I'm low income, but I had to get a loan to get a roof because it was leaking in the bedrooms. And they said mildew was starting. So I did that on my own. They came in, they said, okay, we'll do the drywall work. And they said contract will be back. That was, I got the paper in front of me. That was 6/27/23. Never heard anything else from them again. So I went to Lydia's house. They copied all this. Never heard nothing from them again. So I just want to ask y'all, I'm trying to calm down. I'm so upset. What should I do next?
So I don't want to attempt to get into the details as to who has your documentation and where, but I
But
would
I can tell
advise.
you, single family residential
Oh, hold
rehab
on.
program.
Excuse me. We're gonna be respectful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I was just telling you where it's at.
Oh, no, let me finish. So
Okay.
I would advise you to send. Have you come across a gentleman by the name of Virgil Williams?
No, sir.
So he's the single family residential rehab program manager.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
His name is Virgil, Virgil Williams.
Okay.
So call the department during work hours and ask for Virgil. You can tell him Christopher Early told you to call him so you can get an update on where your situation is.
So, Mr. Early, I did send a new application in October the 9th. So I was waiting to hear back from that. So I just want to keep active, you
Okay.
know. Mm-hmm.
Feel free, but like I said though, go ahead and give him a call. And we again,
Let me ask you again, he's called the weatherization program?
no, he's the manager of the single family residential rehab program.
Okay, the SF, okay then.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All
No
right,
problem.
thanks for the information.
Ms. Chambers, are you there? I know you said the mic is not, you, okay. All right, we're gonna come back to you. We're gonna go to Chanel Toms.
Hello, my name is Chanel Toms. I am a displaced homeowner at the condominiums on Talbot Street. How are you all doing? Thank you for having this meeting. I wanted to ask a question about the oversight of the developments that are supplemented by the IZ programs. A lot of the new developments that have IZ units that they're selling or renting have like stark differences in the amenities and not just the finishes. Um, and I know that housing discrimination is a significant issue in the city. So I had toured a home in Northeast that I'm thinking about purchasing, but I noticed that the loft area, I had toured the normally priced one as well prior to touring the affordable one. And the loft area has like an outdoor space in the market rate one that leads to a rooftop deck. But the affordable one has just a window and the deck, you can see the deck from inside the room, but you cannot go onto the deck or whatever. So there's no outdoor space in those particular units. There's no outdoor space in the IZ units. So my question really is about how is DHCD doing anything to ensure that the builders are being equitable in this? Because an outdoor space really, I would say, improves people's health. I have an 8-year-old daughter. It would be nice for her to have somewhere to play. Otherwise, we don't have anywhere. It would just be us going in and out of the house. The other homes have a balcony and a rooftop, and this home has neither one. So it would either be me having to invest in that, or even if I can, because I would have to also get it approved by DCRA, I believe, in the Department of Buildings or whatever to get a permit to do that work. But I wanted to know what can be done to make sure they're at least being equitable in that and not just the finishes, because I understand things cost different amounts or whatever the case may be. But something as simple as leaving a window, a door, and allowing people to go in and out of it doesn't seem like a big ask. And then my other question was about renovating any vacant or blighted properties in a city. Is there someone that I can contact um, directly to get into one of those programs? Because I am in the process of doing HPAP, and I wanted to know if HPAP can be used to purchase any of those homes. Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Thomas. My name is Gene. You and I have emailed a couple times. I'm going to
Yes.
try to answer your first question.
Mm-hmm.
The short answer is the IZ program applies to specific units and specific buildings, and it's a square footage requirement. The developer of the buildings with some requirements and restrictions, gets to choose the specific IZ units. So for example, they have to be proportional bedroom size, and they have to be evenly distributed throughout the window, throughout the building, but they don't have to be every unit. So in some buildings, there are going to be some units that are more appealing than others. The IZ program makes sure that they're not the worst units, but they are income restricted, so the developers make less money for those units. So there can be some differences between specific units. So I'd be happy to talk to you offline about specific buildings. Obviously, if you feel you've been discriminated against, if a developer or landlord has treated you differently because of income or other restrictions, you should certainly file a complaint with the Office of Human Rights. And then I'm going to hand the microphone over to my colleague Keyshawn to answer the second part of your question.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, good evening. This is Keyshawn Keene, the manager for the Property Acquisition and Disposition Division. When we have properties that are affordable and are on the market, it is a requirement that those properties are on DC Housing Search. And so that should be the first place that you look. We also require that the properties are on MLS, which may include a number of platforms, including Zillow, Redfin, etc. But DC Housing Search is the one that you can rest assured will have affordable units with the affordable requirements spelled out with the appropriate contact for you as a resource. So that should be the first stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Chambers. I'll just go to her question in the chat. All right. Ms. Chambers has a question regarding the Talbot Shore community about HPAP funding and specifically her neighbors about issues. And she essentially just asking for further assistance. And Ms. Chambers, leadership has indicated that we will follow with you. But thank you for your question. Next, we have Archer D. If you can Archer D.
Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, how are you? Good evening, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? My name is Archie Javity. I just want to thank you guys just for holding it Ward 8 session. I am Ward, I live in Ward 8, and I am a landlord also. Grew up in Ward for some time. My mother was disabled, had a stroke when I was young. So she relied heavily on affordable housing. So it wasn't until I got older that I realized that how important it is, for units to remain in DC, for people, for the resident of DC to have these units accessible to them because of the many programs that the district offers. So I guess my question is, as far as someone who grew up who has transitioned to now provide affordable housing to undeserved communities and has kind of made that their mission, so that residents can have a place where they can access these programs that DC offers, like my mother had, as far as like home health aides, Metro Access, Medicare and stuff like that. How can small landlords does DHCD have like incentives available for landlords who want to expand housing units in Ward 8? And as far as throughout the city, and what financial resources are available to kind of help small landlords develop additional units, such as like grants or like low interest loans. And I understand that you guys have the PAC program that you guys were talking about, the property acquisition program, and that's something that I kind of researched. But it seems like that's kind of geared towards more like big developer, things like that, who are kind of like more experienced to deal with the paperwork that comes with that program. I've been in the district for a while, and I see a lot of blighted properties that DHCD owns, and nothing is being done so far, like these small apartment buildings from 4 units on down. And I actually noticed that for this current pad program that you guys maybe like a month ago put out a solicitation, that one of the properties was also on a program that you had like 4 years ago, and it still looks the same. So that showed me that that program that you guys rolled out 4 years ago, or I guess these developers to kind of bring it back to life for affordable housing, nothing was done. Um, and I kind of like talked to myself within myself, and I was like, wow, if there was something for like small landlords who may have capped out using their own capital to try to make a difference, you maybe it wouldn't be still sitting there blighted, even after you guys wrote out a program and nothing was done. So I just wanted, like, in the future, does DHCD see themselves kind of like having a program that can help small, I guess, landlords to kind of scale and so they can really get these blighted properties up and running? Um, so I guess that's my question. I hope that you guys understood.
Yes, sir. Thank you for posing that question. First, the Property Acquisition and Disposition Division offers solicitations a number of times during the year where we encourage developers to participate. And so we would encourage you and welcome you to look at our website and put a package together and respond to our RFPs. That is the best way to participate in revitalizing properties that are in our inventory that we are disposing of. As far as existing properties that you may own and that you would like to rehabilitate or expand, DHCD offers a notice of funding availability at least annually, and that is the financing medium to which you would apply for development opportunities to scale your development projects. Thank you.
Okay. And as far as that's what is the name of that program? The latter program that you mentioned, as far as that help individuals scale.
So as Keyshawn was saying, there's a couple ways for smaller scale developers to work with the department. You have the Development Finance Division, where that division puts out financing for apartment complexes 5 units and above. You also have the division that Keyshawn manages, Property Acquisition Disposition Division. There's been turnover over the last 5-10 years, but we feel like we have things on solid footing. So I will keep my eyes open for new opportunities coming out of that part of the department as well. And then I'm not sure if you heard us earlier, we were talking about the Small Buildings Grant and Loan Program, which is in place to help small developers, small building owners with repairs and whatnot to help them efficiently operate their property. So, I think part of what I advise you to do is, again, come into the Housing Resource Center and ask about these programs, and the staff here will be able to point you to the right person to whom you can speak about what it is you're looking for.
That's understood. And one more question. I appreciate you guys answering that question. I've heard about the small buildings grant, and what was relayed to me that funding wasn't available as of right now. I'm not sure if when will funding become available, or has funding became available now.
So we're just starting off a new fiscal year. So if you have a project that's in the pipeline with that program, I would advise you to reach out to the program manager, Forrest Hayes. Have you had a conversation with Mr. Hayes?
Yes, I have. I
Okay.
spoke to a person before.
Okay. Well, yeah, stay in contact with him. That's probably the best bet at this point, since we're just getting into this new fiscal year.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Kelly Butler, you can unmute yourself.
Yes. Hello. Hi, my name is Kelly Butler. Thank you for having this meeting. Yes, to me, I have two questions. So I got into the IZEA program and everything that they seem to send on um, your email, it's not affordable because of all the amenities they add to it, like parking $300, pet fees. I have a service dog. So, so it's become discouraging. And plus my income is only my disability a month. And the cost of these, maybe I'm not understanding how the IZ program go, but everything that they send, it seems like it's not affordable for me. I only need one bedroom, but even with a one bedroom, with my income, it's not affordable. That's one thing. Then second of all, it seems like if you're not fully on like social services, like I get food stamps, but I'm not getting TANF and all these. If I don't have any children, underage children, so me, it seems like I'm at a dead end trying to get services from Virginia Williams and all these places where it's supposed to help you with affordable income. I mean, affordable living, because I don't have children, but I have a disability. But it still seems like every time I try to go to these entities, I run into a brick wall. So I'm just trying to figure out, where do I go to try to get some services to get affordable housing for a person in my magnitude, like my issues. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I just don't seem like I'm getting anywhere with it. And I've been doing this for years. I've been on the housing like people since 2009 and still haven't got a pick for a voucher. So, and my son is now 24 years old. He's a whole grown man now. So now do I just fall to the crack because I no longer have a child that makes me eligible for a low income housing voucher? I'm just confused on how it all works.
Understood. And, we empathize with that situation. One thing to keep in mind is that, you obviously have a unique situation dealing with attempting to move up on the voucher list is something that requires patience and stick-to-itiveness, no question about it. I would advise you to come in and talk to the staff to see what resources we have here in the Housing Resource Center that might be available, one. And then two, I mentioned this earlier, talking to a housing counselor that can really help you lay out your situation and help you lay out some goals toward your housing desires, and then helping you come up with steps to get there. If you've done that already, that's great. Not trying to be condescending by any stretch, but just giving you some thoughts as to a way to move down the path a bit, right? So, as I mentioned to someone before who was on the meeting, DHCD does fund a number of housing counseling service agencies here in the city. And it may seem to be a daunting task, but if you've been able to raise a young man in this town from being a young person to an adult, you have some real strength inside of you. And so put that toward reaching out to that housing counselor and work with them to help you get to where you want to be. I would advise you to do the best you can in doing that. Again, like I said, I know dealing with a voucher and being on the wait list is a daunting challenge, but I'm sure you can do it. You've been doing good stuff already, obviously, by raising your son. And so, if you need housing advice, come to DHCD, go see one of our housing counseling agencies that we fund, and I'm sure there'll be a solution for you once you've had an opportunity to do that.
Miss Davina Callahan, you can unmute yourself. We just asked you to keep your remarks to 3 minutes.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
My name is Davina Callahan. Thank you for having this meeting. I am one of the 46 homeowners from Talbot Street who has been displaced for almost 4 years due to matters that we are not at fault for. My first question is that we have not heard from DHCD in months regarding a way forward. And my question is, when can we expect to hear updates, next steps, and who should we expect that communication to come from? My second question is, with our current leases expecting to end in January of 2025, the desire and need to be whole again and find stable homes, we would like to know what kind of funding is being identified for us other than HPAP. Again, we have been dealing with this issue for almost 4 years, and to still not have funding identified or available for us is concerning, ridiculous, and a complete slap in our face. So we are trying to figure out what is our way forward, what funds are being identified for us other than HPAP.
So that we can allow for everyone to get a chance to speak this evening. Ms. Callahan, we've been in contact with you and others in the Tower Street situation over time. It has been a while since we've had direct conversation. There's been a number of resources that have been put out for the folks in your unfortunate situation. And so what we will do is to ensure that you and others that are part of the Talbot Street group, we follow up with you all separately to talk about where things have been and where things are. But I empathize with you and understand that y'all been through a lot. So we have you noted as having participated today, along with Mrs. Dr. Chambers as well. And so we'll make sure we follow up with you as
And
we go forward.
sorry, great, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
Can you clarify, like, when would that follow-up happen? Who are we expected to hear that communication from? Because again, our leases are expected to end in January. That's basically in 3 months. So just a
Understood.
name, a frame would be appreciated, Mr. Lionel.
Understood. We'll follow up with you. I will hope that you've had conversation with the Department of Human Services, but having said that, we'll be sure to follow up with you in 48 hours.
Thank you so much.
This is Shannon Thomas.
Hi, we want you to be sick of us. It's another Tower Street resident, and thank you so much for having this platform today. Just some talking points for our meeting that you plan or update that you plan to provide us in, I think you said 48 hours. Can you please identify or have funds potentially identified for Tower Street homeowners for the FY 2025 fiscal year? Because what some of us are facing or enduring right now, we're being put in a position where a small amount of residents have already crossed the threshold of re-entering home ownership, but there's still a majority of us that have not. And we need to identify a stable path forward in terms of like the HPAP amount. How come we're not being honored the current amount versus we're being retroactive to the amount that we were given back in 2018 when we've been displaced since 2021. And that amount would not be forgivable. When we have lost equity, we have lost brand new homes, and essentially we're considered homeless. And also, um, can we get some clarity around that as soon as possible? Because at least 22 homeowners have been vetted through NACA and we're at a standstill. And also, I think it's ironic that the only ones that have been able to create a path forward have only been able to do so by obtaining homes that are IZ units. And that should be a clear indicator that the market rate value of the homes is not what it was for a three bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home, and it's now market rate. We should not be subjected to having to do the lottery, which is trying to find a needle in a haystack to acquire new housing. When we did everything that we were supposed to do in terms of our credit, in terms of acquiring our mortgage, and buying our first time homes back in 2018. So those are just some talking points I wanted to suggest to you to identify when you follow up with our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Yvonne Lawson, you can unmute yourself and share with us your question. Yvonne Lawson. I can't unmute. Okay. All right. You should have got a prompt to unmute. You can just. All right, we'll come back. Yes, I unmuted you, Miss Lawson. Okay, I'll just go to the next person and then, gotcha, okay. All right, we'll come back to you, Miss Lawson. Gotcha, okay.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to advocate for senior housing in DC. I was born in 1947, native Washingtonian, and now I am advocating for a senior village to be built in each ward that you will build ranch homes, everything on one floor for us seniors. We kept this city alive and up, straight up for many years. Okay, there's a lot more people for just coming into the city and taking advantage, but we want to live more comfortable too. And I was wondering if that's something that can be considered. Senior village, in each ward, those of us who live most of our lives in Ward 8, we love Ward 8, we want to stay here in Ward 8. And there are some spaces somewhere, I know in this community, where you can build these villages. Single family detached ranch style homes.
Thank you for your feedback. We will look into that. I know that's been something that, and by the way, I didn't recognize you at first, so it's nice seeing you. Got your hair done different today. But no, in all seriousness, that's something that we hear about a lot. Obviously, we want to keep seniors in place, and if we can help catalyze that kind of community being built, we're all for it. So that'll be something we'll put in our things that we need to try to make happen as best we can. We got a lot of things going on in this market right now, but obviously homeownership for seniors is just as important as anything else. So your comments are duly noted, and we'll, no, we're not going to push you aside. We'll add it to the list of things we got to get done. So we appreciate that feedback though.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Daniel Walcott. I don't live in DC. I live in Maryland, but I work in Ward 5, and I help buyers, sellers, and renters in all wards. I wasn't sure if this was addressed before. My question is specifically about HPAP. Just wanted to see if there's a timeline in which those funds will be available and any changes that we can expect. Hopefully not, but you never know. So I think that's it.
The short answer would be stay tuned, continue to pay attention to what releases are being provided by the department. Moving into a new fiscal year, while folks want dollars to be available on day one, it does take some time to move budget, et cetera. So we're in the process of doing that. So the minute things are ready to roll, there'll be a broad notice circulated. So make sure you're on our newsletter list, and I'm sure you've had some communication maybe with the HPAP team. So keep reaching out to them as well. But once the program is back fully operational, you will definitely know, because a lot of people have been asking that question. No question about it. The end of the calendar year? Oh, no question. Yeah, definitely. It just takes some time to go between fiscal years. So, do we have any other?
Good evening. How you doing? My name is Kenton Long, and I want to first thank you guys for allowing me to get in certain programs. It's been over 26 years since I've been on the waiting list, and just recently this year, I've been awarded affordable housing and the Section 8 program. So just moved in before I got the Section 8 program. I had moved in the affordable housing, which is the apartments and the ones on Kenilworth Avenue. And it's okay. But I really wanted me and my son, 15 years old. I'm raising them by myself. And, we wanted a house, house with, a yard and whatever the case. And I had acquired a couple of abandoned properties that's been vacated for at least 5 years or so. And I was told that we couldn't use our Section 8 program to get that house fixed up or whatever the case may be. I'm just want to know, there's a lot of abandoned houses around the DC area, and we wanted to know if we can get with someone to see if we can fix those properties up and make them Section 8 housing or affordable housing for everybody. And it's a 2-bedroom, so I was just saying, hey, it's a good property. It's been sitting there for a minute, rotting away. But I just want to fix it up. Just there, stay there.
So I have a couple of thoughts on that. One, this gentleman right here, I believe, are you a realtor? So that might be somebody to talk to. Just saying, just also a networking opportunity. But having said that, the opportunity to redevelop vacant and abandoned properties, we know that's a huge issue in the city. And so part of what we're moving toward with my colleague over here, Keyshawn, and his division is to focus on what this agency can do to get those properties in our inventory and then get them back out to folks such as yourself who are looking to renovate them and get them back on the operational for affordable housing. So I would advise you to make sure you get this gentleman, Mr. King's information before you leave tonight and pick his brain, talk to him about some of the stuff they're working on, and that's one way that this agency can help with that issue you raised, due to the ability for DHCD to acquire a vacant property and then turn it around and get it back on the market. So stay in contact with Mr. King. He'll be a good contact for you as you go down that path. Sure. I think this.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Anderson. I live in Ward 8. I moved into 800 Southern Avenue, and it was redeveloped by Vesta Corporation. They put us on they said we have a tax credit. So aside from just what our normal rent is, they said we get a tax credit that we, sign up for. My first question is, what exactly are they getting when I sign up for my tax credit? And number two, how can we hold developers accountable for the conditions when they're doing the renovations if the tenants are there while they're doing it? What guidelines do those developers have, not using the folk who live there as, say, human guinea pigs while they're doing all of this? We recently finished the renovation there, but for the last year, they had some challenges that they were going through. And a lot of folks ended up they left while this was going on. But moving forward, I just want to make sure that when these developers come in, that they don't use the residents as, human guinea pigs while they're making their renovations. And then what safeguards do we have even now? They're still doing some things, but in our lease agreements, it states that we cannot, our rights as Washingtonians, the only thing we have is to take them, to court. However, they have something in their leasing agreement that says that you have to mediate, that they will not, they don't want, you have to waive your right to, legal proceedings. I'm looking at the verbiage on it myself. I'm like, yeah, that's got to be illegal, but it's in there. So I just wanted to get some clarification on that.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. As far as residents being in a property when it's under renovation, there's generally a relocation plan that is signed off upon by the, well, if there's funds coming from this department, then this department would have to sign off on the relocation plan. And so I don't know the specifics of that specific renovation. I understand that that's Park Southern, if I'm not correct. Is that correct? Yeah. So regardless of what property it is, if there's city funding in it coming through here, there has to be a relocation plan that's signed off upon that lays out the plan for residents while the renovation is happening. And so, in the future, if there's anything, any issues like the ones you're referring to while your property's under renovation, you can reach out to our property asset management division here. The gentleman who's the manager of that division is Stephen Lawrence. And if you have questions, you can reach out to him and he'll be able to answer those kinds of questions for you. Your second question or comment was in regards to the lease. Right. I got you. Gotcha. You're probably better off going to one of our housing counseling service agencies to ask about that question and take your lease. I'm not standing here giving anybody legal advice. I mean, to put the disclaimer out there, but I'm simply saying that, the leases are different depending upon the property management company, but there is a baseline set of rules that they have to follow here in the District of Columbia. And so I don't know the nuances of what you're referring to, but I would advise you to talk to one of our housing counseling service agencies and ask them that question.
And or the Office of Tenant Advocate. DC Office of Tenant Advocate sole role is to represent tenants dealing with landlord issues. So I'd reach out to them. Their Office of Tenant Advocate. They're at ota.dc.gov.
Good point.
We're going to go back to people waiting in the chat. First in the queue is Sebastian Murray. You can unmute yourself.
All right, thank you. As you said, my name is Sebastian Murray. I live in Ward 8. I'm a homeowner and landlord. And the question I have is for a point of contact for the Section 8 housing choice voucher for 3 and 4 bedrooms.
So, sir, this is the Department of Housing and Community Development.
Right. I understand. Okay.
So your question would be a question that the DC Housing Authority can answer. That haven't been stated. I think we have someone walking up to the front that might be able to shed a little light on the subject.
Just a little bit. I know the DC Housing Authority has recently opened branch offices that I'm told can walk in. So I would go to their website. I know there's one in Chinatown. There are 2 others. I don't know the addresses, locations off the top of my head, but they staff them different. Like they're not all open every day. So I'd go to dcha.org or dcha.dc. dchousing.org, sorry. And when you first go to that site, it says visit our HCVP customer service centers. Click here for information on walk-ins and appointments. So I would recommend that be your point of contact.
Thank you. Did you get all of that, sir?
Yes. Thanks,
Good.
sir.
Good.
I had it at one time, but After COVID, I lost contact with the agency and everything. So, all right, thanks.
You can also call their phone number 202-535-1000.
All righty. Thanks a lot there.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna go to Jerusalem.
Hi there. Good evening. Thank you all for hosting this today. I raised my hand because I didn't really get a full answer to my question. I'm one of the Talbot Street condo owners. My issue has kind of escalated into something that's quite scary for me personally. I have reached out to DHS. I actually spoke to someone today from DHS regarding the lack of support for my temporary rental housing. It's quite bad for me. I don't want to be too dramatic on this call. Who can I speak to from DHCD? Because that's what was recommended to me, to speak with someone from DHCD. So who should I speak to?
So we'll follow up with you after this call, after this meeting.
Is this Mr. Lionel that I
No,
can
this
expect to?
is hold on. This is Christopher Early, and so that this we stay on task this evening. We understand your deep concern about your situation. It's probably better served we have a direct conversation with you. So we'll follow up with you in the next 48 hours.
I think you don't understand how urgent this is. 48 hours is too long.
Okay, we will follow up with you as soon as possible.
I am
Okay.
asking for within 24-hour notice. Is that okay, Mr. Early?
We'll follow up with you as soon as possible.
I want to be clear so that others hear me. This is inhumane. I'm going hospital. Let me correct. Hotel to hotel, and had to go to a hospital because of panic attacks, hair loss, and skin rashes. This is urgent. I need a response because this is urgent.
We'll follow up with you. Thanks for your comments.
I look forward to that. Thank you.
Terry Wright.
Yes, hello. How are you tonight?
Doing fine, thank you.
Great. Again, I am one of the other owners at Talbot Street. And the reason why I am on here today is to get a confirmation of when we are going to get some type of resolution and an actual call. Mr. Early, I have left you messages and I've been left on silence. I have sent emails repeatedly. I have reached out to you on Teams since I work for OAG. I have Teams and you ignore them when I see you on green. We've been told multiple times over and over again for the last 3.5 years that we are going to be doing one thing from another. It started with Mr. Hubbard to now Director Green. I have now issued a complaint with the General's office because I am unclear how some of the owners and mainly the board members were able to move forward with funding that was provided by DHCD, and the whole development of 46 owners was not privy of that information. Now we are all left in the dark, and it seems like y'all are being selective of who you are providing the information to and the help to. As a government employee and as a district residents that pays taxes, it is unfair and housing discrimination. I would like to know when someone is going to assist us fully at Tower Street. I'm waiting for your answer.
So we will follow up with you within 48 hours.
Who will follow up with me within 40 hours? Because this is the same thing we hear, and I can call back and reply and say, I'm waiting for a response, and you leave me on ghost.
So that we could keep the program moving, and there's other folks that have questions. We have noted your comment. Ms. Terry, and we'll follow up
Yes.
with you within 48 hours.
I understand you said we. I'm asking who is the we.
One of the senior staff here at DHCD will follow up with you within 48 hours.
Okay.
All
And
right?
while I'm here, I have Dr. Chambers here since you were unable to unmute her. So
Oh,
she has
great.
come up to my location. So she is here
Okay,
with her question as well.
great.
Yes, this is Dr. Coquinda Chambers. I'm glad I was able to connect somehow. Just to introduce myself properly, I'm a third generation Washingtonian of over 40 years and a Ward 8 homeowner for 6 years of the 1262 Talbot Street Southeast community. So some of the questions have already been raised. I will not repeat those just to save time. But I do want it to be noted that we are a community predominantly of 46 Black and Brown women homeowners, and we were displaced due to foundation property issues due to no fault of our own. A good majority of us are DC government workers, meaning that we pay taxes into a program we thought we would be benefiting from, but instead we were left devastated facing homelessness. Mr. Early, you mentioned funds have been made available, but adequate funds have not been made available to obtain home ownership. And that has been the ongoing issue. And not to mention that we have not been included in anybody's budget, DHCD, the city council, or anybody after 3 years of this devastating displacement. For your information and the hearing of the community, as Terry Wright has escalated her concerns on to the what the appropriate agency, the Inspector General's agency. I have also escalated the matter to the White House and received a response from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and also HUD, because this is definitely a housing discrimination issue. We are being ignored. We have been iced out, particularly by DHCD leadership, and I too have on numerous occasions sent emails, have gone down in person, and there has been no resolved. You also mentioned, Mr. Early, that Human Services will be getting back to us or following up with us. I'm assuming you mean DHS, which is the Department of Human Services. We know nothing about that follow up. And my last question is, what is Mayor Bowser saying and doing to approve funding for our community? This is unacceptable. And I say it in all platforms and in all places. If we were a white community, we would not be enduring this sort of devastation, disrespect, because that's what this is. We need adequate, identified funding in this current housing market. The homes are too expensive, and we did not put ourselves in this situation. Credit has been destroyed and everything. We need answers, and we need answers now.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Again, I am expecting a follow up as well, and within a timely manner. Thank you.
Renee Barrett, you can unmute yourself and share with us your question. Ms. Renee Barrett, are you able to unmute yourself? Okay, we'll come back around. I see, Ms. Wright, you were signing here twice. Okay, and after Ms. Wright, we have Monique.
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. My name is Monique Littles, and I am a resident at 3630 Brothers Place Southeast. And um, I've been experiencing it's uninhabitable. There there are mice everywhere, rodents. I took this issue to court um, as a preliminary injunction. The court, um, to give you a backstory, and I'm not the only one, but I'm the only one coming forward. It's other residents. I think it's 32 units. We're going without months without a refrigerator, months without stoves. Um, Mice are inside of our unit as if they're pets. Um, Maintenance come when they want to. They don't have a updated basic business license present if they have one at all. Um, Me personally, I'm still going. They did renovation while my kids and I were in the unit. I haven't had my son haven't been able to stay home since school started. He has severe asthma and he still isn't able to come home because of the issues. Mold, mildew was covered when they just did a renovation. They covered it up with spray paint, and I'm being told that if you if it's not if an inspector can't see it, then it doesn't exist. So these landlords are able to just cover up, paint over. They literally spray painted over water damage after I had a flood from the unit above me. They're being allowed to just do just enough to get by, and it's putting us residents in uninhabitable living conditions. Um, my daughter had to go to the emergency room. She already is diagnosed. She's only 6 years old, diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. She already taking medication. So to see a mice when she get out of her bed, or mice jumping around in her bed, or roaches crawling around in her bed, and she have to scream and come to me, that's devastating. She's on. They did renovation while we were in there. After I begged them not to, they did it anyway. Um, she's on medication for that. And as I speak right now, I'm from pillow to post, finding somewhere to go because the mice are uncontrollably in there. It's more roaches on the trap, and I've never had this issue nowhere where I live. Um, it's more roaches on the trap than mice. When I went back home to check to see, I have to soak my carpet in peppermint. My carpet lifts away from my wall. My baseboard is duct tape. Literally, my baseboard is duct tape. Um, it's just it's and aside from that, I've been granted a transfer voucher. Um, I'm just having problems with finding a decent place to live. It's either they're asking me, I'm being asked by other landlords like my credit score, things that questions that we're being told that it's not supposed to be asked. So it seems like they're making it. Uh, it seems like they're making it trying to make it easier for us to find a place to go, but landlords are making it harder to be accepted. It's either they're raising the rent, and then this rent reasonableness, um, this new law, I guess, is rent reasonableness. I'm not understanding that. I do have someone in housing I can get in contact with, but it's still confusing and it's frustrating. So I'm basically trying to get out of the unit I'm in now to get somewhere else. But until now, I'm staying from pillow to post or having to stay in that unit that's at Brother's Place, and they're being allowed to do us like this. I've been seeking legal help. I heard someone say go to the landlord tenant branch. I don't know if it's my case specifically, but I was told that I'm unable to receive the help because I'm already in court, and I guess because I'm seeking um, monetary damages. So I've been having an issue with that. As far as housing, on a Section 8 voucher list. I was told that my name is not even on the list anymore. I don't know if that's because I have an in-state voucher or what the issue is, but it's it's very difficult to find somewhere decent to transfer to.
Now, we hear you, and yeah, you definitely have a unique situation. I'm sorry to hear what's going on in your unit there in Brothers Place, but uh, it sounds as though you have a court case pending, which probably is the reason why you're being told what you're being told. That haven't been
Mhm.
stated. For what it's worth, I would, if you're having trouble finding a unit in which to move, there's a couple of resources out there. There's dchousingsearch.org that could be helpful for you. If you can break away and go see one of the housing counseling agencies, that might help as well. I'm not sure if you've done that already. You could even come to DHCD and talk to one of our team members here and share with them your situation, and maybe they may be able to point you in the direction of a residence for you while you're
Okay.
going through the situation there. But I would try all three of those, quite frankly, because if you have a court case going, that could go for a while. So uh, I think that's probably those are some recommendations. And I'm sorry to hear you're going through that because that's tough. No question
Yes,
about
it really is, especially my son. Severe asthma that it could be tricky, and having rodents, and I have to literally, it smells like mothballs, peppermints, but I'm trying to do things to keep it away, but it's affecting my kids' health at the same time. Um, I will try. I'm writing it down. You said come to your building.
If you are on the virtual meeting, my colleague put some information in the
Okay.
chat you may want to grab.
Okay.
You could also come to DHCD at 1909 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue Southeast, the walk-in housing resource center.
Oh, okay. Yes, I know what that is.
Mm-hmm. And if you're brothers, you're probably closest to Lydia's house. So if you're interested in talking to them, they always have housing resources available. So that's another alternative for you.
Okay. And one more thing, I went through the HPAP to receive a certificate to so I could be I guess start the process to be a homeowner. And it's been 2 years. No one gets back in touch with me. But listening to the meeting, I'm assuming maybe the funds been depleted, and that's why I didn't receive my certificate.
It's hard to tell what happened in your situation, but I will say to you, if you talk to Lydia's house, they can probably give you more direct answer just because we administer the program, but they're one of our housing counseling agencies that we support to help folks such as yourself.
Okay. Okay. So I see the information in the chat
Okay, good.
now. Okay. That's all I could think of for right now. But thank you for listening.
Sure.
I don't see anyone else in the chat, but I did want to share information that was put in the chat to everyone in the room and online. We share information for DC Housing Authority. You can contact them by phone at 202-535-1000. That's their customer call center. And they have several locations. My colleagues mentioned this earlier. One of them being 625 D Street Southwest, 2000 Alabama Avenue Southeast, 702 8th Street Northwest, and 1170 12th Street Northwest. Mr. Prendergrass, please see your comments. We will contact you.
So Lionel, is there anyone else in the chat? All right, well, I'm looking at the folks in the room. Hold tight. We may have one more person.
Miss Melinda Gray, she said she's a renter in Ward 1. May you repeat the phone number? Yes. So the contact information I provided for DC Housing Authority should answer your question, Ms. Gray. Okay.
With that, we'll end for the evening. We appreciate everyone who came with their concerns, their comments, both in person and on the virtual meeting. We also thank agency staff for being ears, eyes, sources of information. And as we stated when we started today, this won't be the last. This won't be the last listening session. This is one of many where we'll continue to gather concerns and information from the community to help us inform how we do the important work of providing housing for residents in the District of Columbia. So with that, thank you for coming out. We will end for the evening and look for the listening session, I believe, is Ward 7. Do I have that right, Lionel? So we'll see our colleagues in Ward 7 in about a week. So thanks. Have a great evening.